Hello everyone, Nubkeks here, welcome back to Heroes of the Storm. In today's video we're going to be looking at Genji. What an interesting hero, what an interesting hero. Widely considered, I'd say, one of the best heroes in the game and very, very often banned. In fact, he's been banned in nearly every hero and Team League game that I've played. Yet at the same time, he possesses one of the absolute worst win rates in Hero League across every single league. I mean, going down to close to 40% in some of the lower ones in particular. So what's the deal with Genji? What is the deal with Genji? I think the important thing is, right, let's dive into what does Genji actually do? What are his actual strengths? Can you guys explain it? I think it's kind of interesting, right? Because I've seen a lot of people. I remember did a video on Overwatch Heroes and got a lot of comments, and typically they're saying stuff along the lines of like, Genji's OP. He's, you know, he's got a jump, he's got a dash that goes really far. Like, this is why he's OP. You're not actually explained anything though about why he's OP. I remember I was watching I really enjoyed this small like WoW YouTuber, very small, called Thief Gaming. He's like an Englishman in his middle years, right? He's a teacher, a science teacher, but he made a very good point, I thought. He was talking about you know, students when he asked them to explain stuff. Again, in science, he'd be like, "Well, why are plants green? Explain." Well, the answer you get is, you know, "Oh, they got chlorophyll in them." It's like, well, that's not actually. It's not an explanation, you know. That's when you're looking for a scientific explanation, you're looking for an awful lot more. You're looking for an explanation of what it does. Like, okay, so it's, you know, chlorophyll. I don't actually know what the answer is here, but it's something like chlorophyll is a particular compound, you know, that absorbs light to produce energy or something like that, and it absorbs all colors of light except green, and then the chlorophyll in the plants. You know, you're looking for an explanation, something that actually explains how the things work. So the same with Genji. It's like, yeah, sure, he's got this big long dash, and that is what makes him powerful, but you're not actually explaining why it makes him powerful or what it enables him to do. And I think that's really important if you want to understand why he's like always picked at like pro levels, almost always picked, one of the most picked heroes, yet he has a rubbish win rate in amateur play. Why? You have to understand that. By the way, this is interesting here, just in the early game. Before I explain, and you guys can still be thinking of your own explanation of what he does well. Before I do that though, this is an interesting early game in terms of we want to get that, we want to get the siege camp early on, but it's kind of difficult to get to it, right? Because they've done a good job with terms of Greymane plus Brightwing in terms of setting up pressure in the bot lane, seeing as we have our Vala and Malf in the mid lane. So we've got tremendous pressure in mid. So this is kind of interesting thing where I'm kind of trying to put some pressure on the Greymane to try to mitigate the Greymane damage. Also, I was trying to join in with the Vala push in mid lane as well. Once the Brightwing teleported down, it's kind of like, well, shucks, we're going to lose bot lane really hard. This is super awkward. What do we do? Well, I think the best thing we had to do was to just push mid really hard, but then kind of awkward again to get back up into that siege camp. I think we probably wanted Vala to do it a little bit quicker. Malf's not the ideal target. We're going to come help Malf. That's essential so that he actually is freed from this siege camp in time to actually get to the tribute fight. That's really important, so we're going to do that. And things have worked out pretty well overall, but I thought that was I think you could definitely rewatch the first couple of minutes of this game and just think about, okay, what happens if we send certain members of the team here? What do we want to do? Again, like, I would probably, looking at our comp, I'd be probably the favorite person to send to do that siege camp. We didn't get that opportunity though in the game, so just sort of interesting things like that that are, you know, perhaps worth considering. Right, let's talk about Genji. So what does Genji actually do well? Well, one of the first things you have to understand is how his Q works. Kind of a concept called shotgunning, which you have in like other games and stuff like that. But basically your Q, you throw out 3 shuriken. Each one does damage, but they spread, and it's a set spread, which means that if you're shooting at something that's far away, you're not going to be able to hit them with all 3. But if you hit someone, if you fire your Q at someone who's right beside you, you will hit them with all 3, and you'll do each individual one will do damage. So you can do an awful lot more damage if you shotgun. That's basically the idea there. So that is a crucial part in Genji's kit. I think I actually make a mistake here. We get caught, I think, by Greymane? Yeah, you get caught by Greymane here. I should have used my W at that point. I did it well in the laning, and then I held on for it too long there, but basically I should use my W to... Greymane's biggest amount of burst is when he jumps into you on wolf form, hits you with the basic attack, Qs through you, hits with another basic. That's a lot of burst damage. So we ought to have used the W in order to prevent that, and that's what you saw me doing in the lane as well when I was ganking the Greymane, trying to use our W to prevent his counter burst on us. So you got the shotgunning. Then also you got Swift Strike, right? This is the other crucial part of your kit. It's this long range dash, does some damage, it's extremely fast as well, and very long range. Why is it so good? Let's explain it. What does Genji actually do well? When you put those two things together, in particular, also the fact that you've got your W, which gives you a bit of a shield, you've got your D, which is a little bit of an escape, you've got a few different options there. And when you put it all together, what he does well is Genji effectively can get in on top of any enemy hero insanely fast from almost anywhere in the team fight. He can just get in on top of them, which means that he's constantly a threat in terms of focus firing. If your teammates get pressure, if someone's out of position on the enemy team, whereas another hero like Vala will struggle to get into position because she's so squishy, Genji can like dive in on top of them pretty much no problem. So that means that he's just very effective at securing kills. He's very opportunistic in that sense, but he's very effective at securing kills. When we jump in with our E on top of someone, we start shotgunning them in the face with Q, we do an awful lot of single target burst, and we can get in on top of them from anywhere in the fight. Now, of course, compared to the Vala, or compared to Greymane, let's say two other very popular assassins, we got nowhere near as much wave clear. We're much worse, certainly early game, at doing map objectives, anything like that. We are somewhat dependent, very much dependent, in fact, on getting resets for doing comparable amounts of damage. That's what you have to understand about Genji, is that he's very good at opportunistic kill secures, but he's not so good at just doing raw damage like these other heroes are. That's why he's got such a rubbish win rate then at lower levels. Why? Because you just simply don't have focus fire. You don't have that sort of coordinated team fight. So it's just not that useful there. You're better off having something that just does straight up more damage that can actually do laning well. Whereas in higher levels, he's much more useful because they do have focus fire, and that guaranteed, you can't stop Genji swift striking in, really. Very difficult to stop him. So that guaranteed burst can be insanely good. This is actually funny because I didn't see Abathur was there. I was expecting him not to be. So hey, Abathur kill for us. I was just looking to clear the wave. I was looking to clear the wave as we went. But anyway, free Abathur kill once again. We'll take it. So yeah, that's really important to understand in Genji, and you'll see this in the team fights. We're not going to just like jump into the team fights just for no reason. We're going to be lurking around the edges quite a lot. We're going to be looking for weaker members of the enemy team. We're going to be looking for the opportunity. I think this is one of the other large problems, is that with the Genji, if your team is just falling apart, if that opportunity to dive in is never there in the first place, you can really kind of snowball into a loss. It can be really quite bad. Let's talk about map stuff here at the moment. So the enemy team is pushed in. We still have a curse, and we've got an awful lot of boss damage. Again, shotgunning is Genji, not too bad. We've got a Q build Vala. Sonya's really good at this as well. We've got Malf for zone control. He's got Twilight Dream. He's got Roots. We've got a Muradin too. So we've got an awful lot of tools here to come take this boss. Now, don't know exactly what happened to Vala and Muradin. They went some weird ass way, and they got killed, which means that we fail this boss. The ideal thing there was, again, we're right at the end of the curse. The best thing to do is to just grab their boss. They've got the curse, so they can't really come stop us. And again, we got so many tools. Dragon Blade as well. We've got so many tools to fight them on the point. Very difficult for them to actually get in. If they do try to fight that boss, our minions are going to push a lot and do a lot more structural damage, which is going to be great. And if we do get the boss, using that end of the curse to secure it, then we can swing down, get our boss after that. We can sort of snowball the map a little bit, create advantages that way. So I don't know what they were doing, but they all died. So that's, well, they died and we didn't get the boss, so that's a pity. The enemy team is probably doing their boss, so we want to rush ours really fast. Again, it shouldn't be an issue. We should have tons and tons of boss damage. You can see, like, we're not even there and the boss is already down to 2/3 HP. A couple of seconds more and it's down to 1/3 HP. We kill it so quickly. That's really the damage we'd be looking to bring to bear on that first section of that fight there. Oh well, it's done now, so whatever. Things have reset a little bit. Our team probably going to deal with the boss. We got Merc camps there. It's going to come to soak all this XP, help this boss get a bit more value by clearing out the wave, give it some minions to support it and do damage while we're there. And yeah, we're just kind of stalling time until we get to the first, the next set of tributes. This is definitely like a tempo point in Cursed Hollow where things slow down an awful lot. In fact, both teams are bang on equal XP. And zero curses, zero tributes to either team. So yeah, real slower tempo now. We're kind of moving into a very even mid game, which is good for a video. So at this point, Sonya jumps in, so we're going to pick this fight. Malf pops his stun. Didn't actually see the Brightwing. We would have been able to finish her off though. The big problem that happens in this is the Vala goes too deep. So this is again He's one of my friends, and he loves criticizing me, so we're going to return the favor here. But it's like the exact opposite problem in terms of understanding what Genji does well, which is you're looking to opportunistically dive onto the kill targets. That's how you play Genji. That's how we tried to play Vala there, and what happened was Vala just got killed by Greymane. You can't do that with Vala, because she's just going to die. She's very squishy, you don't have the mobility tools. With Vala, in comparison, again, you're more focused on raw damage. It's staying safe, outputting absolutely consistent damage, and just melting the enemy team because you do some of the highest damage output in the game. But you're very squishy, so it's keeping yourself safe. Genji's also very squishy, but you've got a lot more tools to keep yourself alive. So maybe subtle differences in some ways, but they radically do change the way that you play them in the team fight. And that Genji playstyle when applied to a Vala equals a very, very dead Vala. She dived in to kill a Brightwing there, who was basically dead, but you could have killed her with Genji about 1 second later, without Vala dying entirely against the Greymane. It was tough though. I think it was Sonya's mistake to leap in. Follow up on our poke, right, to leap in when our tank wasn't there, I think. Anyway, c'est la vie. So we're looking here again, you see I'm just flanking off to the side, just looking for this opportunity. This works out a lot better this time, that's a good leap. Enemy team is much more split up and isolated this time. We get the Brightwing in a better position. Greymane's going to go down as well, just firing some basic attacks at him. This is looking pretty good. I picked up Shingen at level 13, this makes shotgunning very important as well. What this basically does, at this point I actually think we're okay, but we're still fighting here. This is my bad, I should have kept going in to do damage, because Malf was caught out of position there. That was a mistake by me. And poor old Sonya dies at the end. So I could probably have prevented at least Sonya's death. I wasn't paying attention to the Malf position, so that is a fairly big mistake. Actually cost us a hero death that we could have avoided. I'm able to grab this tribute though. So yeah, you can see that potential for burst damage there though. That Brightwing, she's in the middle of the lane. She's isolated, she doesn't have anything blocking her, so we can get in on top of her. And we can get that full shotgunning Q damage. We can get the damage off of our E. And Sonya's there with the leap. And yeah, we're able to blow up that Brightwing and kill her before she can really do anything. Which is pretty effective. It's pretty damn effective, certainly in terms of the team fights. So I've got a number of talents that are being part of this. So I've got the E talent at level 1 that gives us move speed when we hit stuff with our E. This is just to help kite the Greymane a little bit, more so than anything else. At level 4, we've got bonus damage on the end of our E. Again, it just fits with how you're going to be using that Genji as that sort of surprise assassin. At level 7, take the cooldown on our W when we get hit. It might not add up to much, but it may. Certainly it should proc a lot off of Arthas's E as well. So that should be a bit of a benefit. And if we block like a twin strike from Artanis, that's a couple of things blocked too. So it might add up. So again here, see my position, I'm lurking. I actually get hit by Brightwing Q. But I'm just lurking, looking for this opportunity. Sonya goes in, so we're going to jump in. Now we didn't actually get the initial kill, so we're going to pop our Dragon Blade. Try to do some of this damage. We're going to jump after this Greymane, kill him. And then fail our E over the wall. Really bad placement. Nonetheless, our teammates will mop up that fight. Why? The Abathur clone was a little bit slow coming in. You know, if you look at the enemy team, we managed to isolate their 2 damage dealers, really, the Abathur and the Greymane. We were dealing with both of them. So because of that flank, we're able to do quite a bit of damage. So right here, right now, we want to grab this boss ASAP. It's very important. Sonya was doing a bit of wave clear. I think that's a little bit unimportant. I say you want to kill this boss as quickly as possible. We've got this push to deal with down bottom. Our boss is coming up right after that, in fact, straight away. And the tribute is going to be bottom as well. You can see highlighting both of those. So what you want to do, grab this boss as quickly as we can. Get back. Clear out this camp down bottom. In fact, I can probably do it. Okay, Sonya's been gone to get the bruiser camp. That's okay as well. Go to our boss, grab the tribute, and then we're in a great spot, right? Then we're in a really good spot. Because the enemy team, they're stuck. If they try to defend that top boss, we get our boss for free. They can't stop us if they leave even one hero to defend top boss. We get bot boss. They can't stop us. We also get bot tribute. Then we've got a boss during curse pushing that bot lane. And bear in mind, their top boss is going straight onto their keep. And it spawns very close to the keep, so it's going to kill the keep pretty much no matter what. So this is kind of interesting. I could maybe get up to our team, but the only way I could have gotten to them in time to join this fight is if I had just left that siege camp pushing our keep, plus that big wave, which is just not worth it. So it ends up being our teammates, I think, my friends aren't happy about this, but it's a mistake on their part, right? which is shouldn't be pushing into that. Should not push in that situation. Given the map situation right there, again, the ideal thing is to double boss. These Cascad's just trolling. They're probably both trolling. But yeah, in this situation, especially, it was pretty much the ideal point for a tribute. We were actually super lucky. We're actually super lucky to get that. You couldn't be any better, right? Because the problem is, it's very tough. You have to ask yourself, what does the enemy team do? How do they even handle that? What should they do? They've got their own bosses pushing their keep, and we're about to get another boss plus a curse. What do? And level 20 off of that too as well. So yeah, how do you handle it? It's very tough. Like, do they defend that top boss and then try to survive a curse plus a bottom boss? They might be able to. Alternatively, did they just let that top boss just smash the keep? It won't kill core, so they can let it just smash the keep, and then they could just go fight us on the other boss. Leave Abathur to defend a little bit. Pretty difficult decisions. Pretty difficult decisions. I think, interestingly enough, like, that's actually the best point they made, which is wasted double curse. That's pretty interesting. Wasting the curse. That's kind of a fair point, somewhat. In that, yeah, the curse is somewhat wasted. I think it was, again, there's a lot of interesting strategic things going on in this game. The curse is somewhat wasted, that's absolutely true, because we're all dead. What it did, though, is it pushed the waves up. The pro of this is that it maintains map position, so the enemy team can't come take our boss. The enemy team is just, they're kind of caught out of position. They just don't have any map position, I should say. They're caught out of position here. Greymane goes in first and gets killed, so they're basically screwed. And they were in a rush to get to us because of that curse. So the curse thing, actually, again, in this case, it worked out pretty well. But it is an interesting thing, because what it does, it pushes all the lanes in. It makes it very difficult, though, for us to get XP, and it basically feeds a bunch of free XP to the enemy team. So they get all of that, basically uncontested. Wants to take the bruiser camp. Gotta maximize XP. Gotta maximize XP, that's very important. So yeah, that's tough. I think the curse is the right idea there, but it's kind of tricky. If we didn't take the curse, the enemy team gets a tribute, which is really not the end of the world at all. And they probably take our boss. It just kind of gives tempo back to them. But that's a very interesting thing, which is, I think, much more debatable. I think going to push that top keep was a little bit too greedy, considering just how good the map was. And just the power of double boss and the tempo that it gives you, especially into curse as well. There we go, we've killed all the keeps, maximum XP achieved, and then very important at the end of the game, with any hero with the jump, you have to end within the core, otherwise you're doing it wrong, obviously. So there you guys go, that was a Genji game. I'll show you all the talents here at the end as well. But yeah, so basically grabbing all the E talents. Shingen at level 13 for bonus damage. And yeah, then I like to take the reduced cooldown on deflect, because that just enables you to be a bit more aggressive. Level 20 I upgraded my Q because I didn't have my heroic available. You would normally upgrade your heroic every single time. So yeah, that's it guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. There's the stats at the end. You can see we didn't do much damage, but it's the opportunistic damage. There's the talents. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.